As always, I like to wait at least 1 minute before I get on my rant. And this is going to be a short one, but like I said, I'm going to wait a minute real quick and then I'll get on myself. Alright, what's going on YouTube? What's going on subscribers? Let's see what's going on today. So basically I just wanted to touch upon what's going on with Anthony Edwards. So we know Isaiah basically said something. We know Magic had a whole rant about it. And people were saying that, Magic's not that type of guy to basically go at players like that. And that is true. So the new person is Kevin Garnett. Kevin Garnett, like Isaiah Thomas, is one of these guys where it seems like they've had their opinions changed all of a sudden. Like, their opinions have been bought over. Things that they've used to say are kind of being rewritten and changed. And they're kind of speaking with a different tone. So recently, before I get to that, get a little into Garnett. Garnett, Wolves legend, real hard-nosed, tough guy. He always used to talk about Michael Jordan being the GOAT, second and third. He started to get on this LeBron chatter. And then just recently, he started talking about how these players nowadays are so good and how they're so skilled and how it's the peak of the NBA. That's what he was saying, how Garnett was basically saying how these guys nowadays, they're the best you can get. They've been better than before. But what happened? Anthony Edwards, basically, he disrespected the old school guys. But he didn't just disrespect Michael Jordan because, that would have been alright. What was the difference here? Same thing like how Isaiah Thomas's other competition of the 80s were being disrespected, not just Michael Jordan. The same thing happened with Garnett here now. It wasn't just Michael Jordan in the 90s being disrespected. It was much more than the 90s being disrespected. It was a lot more. When you look at the 2000s, when Kevin Garnett heard that Kobe Bryant was a part of the slander is when things changed. Kobe Bryant being competition for Garnett, being being a person that Garnett battled over the years. Garnett hearing how Garnett and Kobe had this good run. They had this good run there, and basically Garnett hearing how Kobe's being slandered and how Kobe is not as good as what people claim he is. That's what got Garnett's his emotions riled up and made him switch his opinion. It's a simple fact that it's not just disrespecting Mike or it's not just the GOAT debate. When they start disrespecting their specific era and their competition is when people like Garnett and Isaiah Thomas have a problem. And I personally think they should have just stuck it. They should have stuck with it. They should have been serious the whole time. Kept it still, kept it trill the whole way through. But that's not the route they took. They chose to basically say whatever their bosses wanted them to say. But of course, they couldn't let this stuff slide. They couldn't let these young guys now talk about their era and the people they went against. So Garnett basically went on a rampage. Now we know Garnett, before I said people are a lot more skilled. They shoot a three better. They dribble better. This, that, and the third. But now Garnett's saying that most of the guys playing in today's league can't play from back in the days. He's saying they don't have the mental fortitude. They're not strong enough. they're not used to playing that much games, the traveling, uh, that they that the NBA would call travels on them, how they don't have the ability to take those James Harden triple steps, and how the Euro step isn't as good, and the palming, all that stuff. And he's basically breaking it down, basically what a lot of the more older people think, and what I think myself as, and it's pretty clear the NBA made the game easier for points to be on the board, for more fans to watch, which they kind of have gotten. They've gotten their money raised from sponsors and stuff like that. So to some degree, what they wanted worked. And as you know, the points are all across the board. Like when they asked Adam Silver about hand checking, and he said he wouldn't bring it back because Steph Curry. Well, Steph Curry couldn't be Steph Curry if the hand check was still there, and that's kind of the whole point. People like to gloss over that. When you really dig into it, it's kind of like, hey, the best player right now can't do what he's doing if we put him in another era or another type of rules. So then how can you then compare Steph Curry with an Isaiah Thomas or other people? Now, I'm not saying he can't be as good as an Isaiah Thomas, but to just strictly compare, you'd have to really know your game and really dig into all facets of the game to really try to find out who's better. Because you couldn't just look at it and say, oh, well, these guys are better. Because, like I said again, the triple step backs. I was watching Michael Jordan games. I mean, they call palming so much in the 90s that, I mean, if you really think about it, all those guys who, like James Harden, Lillard, Kyrie, all these guys, they palm the ball. They carry. So I think it's really tough. I think their dribbling gets fundamentally less. I mean, the spacing is less there. There's a lot of things that are different. And like I said, the main point of this video, and this will get deleted soon, because, I was on a whole rant, and I didn't have any script or anything like that. Just the main fact I want to get out there that, they have Isaiah Thomas, the Garnetts. You have a lot of old guys who paid for their opinions to have, to go off script of what they usually thought or what they thought before. But the problem is, when their specific competition or area gets disrespected, like Isaiah Thomas, like what happened with the 80s and Larry Bird, second and third, and Garnett, how it's now not just Michael Jordan being disrespected, but Kobe Bryant was disrespected. That's where Garnett had a problem. Because, again, Anthony Edwards is no Kobe Bryant. There's not one player in the NBA today right now. And I mean, I'm not going to go into a LeBron versus Kobe, but I'd say LeBron right now, Jokic right now, none of these guys right now are as good as Kobe. So I think it's overly disrespectful to say anything negative about Kobe, especially now that he's dead and he has no response for you. But that's basically it in here. Get through the rambling, get through the rants, and a lot of things going on in the background here, but hope you really appreciate the main take of this live, and I'll see you for the next one. Salam.